Today I'm going to talk about child screeners, and the purpose for screening children is to pick up possible developmental delays, to assess a child's strengths and weaknesses, and to gain understanding of what they know in order to plan instruction according to the needs of the children in our class. And it also is useful in benchmarking skills and measuring growth over a period of time. The first assessment that we learned about was the Ages and Stages questionnaire, and it's a parent questionnaire. It's an informal assessment that they then turn in to a professional to score. It's important to note that the Ages and Stages is given in months and not in years, so there's some years of age broken down in time where there's a lot of development that goes on in the middle of the year, and it makes sense to break it down a little bit more for those ages. The student that I chose to send the assessment home with did the 60-month questionnaire. She's a 5-year-old kindergarten student at Bellingrath Hills Elementary. She scored a 55 out of 60 for communication and a 60 out of 60 for motor skills, problem solving, and personal and social skills. Her scores would indicate that she's developing normally, even though in the question part that's not scored, her parent did have a concern about her speech. So I know that's something that my mentor teacher was looking into to have assessed by the speech therapist at school. The second assessment that we learned about was the Teaching Strategies Gold, which is used from birth to K. It's an informal assessment given by a teacher with 38 different objectives. My teacher and our school no longer use TS Gold, so I had to get with a peer to see what their teacher used. The child that was assessed in her class was a 4.5-year-old pre-K student at the lab preschool, and according to his scores, he had met or exceeded all of the expectations for fall of 2020. The last assessment is the DIBELS assessment, and it's a formal teacher-given assessment that is given 3 times a year. It's given at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, and at the end of the year. And it goes from K to 6, and it assesses early literacy in students. There's several different probes that teachers can use. They take a minute a piece, and the probe that I chose to do with my student was the letter naming fluency, and in a minute he made it through 40 letters and got 1 incorrect, so he scored a 39. And the benchmark for mid-year, which we're not quite at mid-year, is a 37. So him scoring a 39, he was above the benchmark. And the benchmark for the end of the year is 42, so he's only 3 away from the end of the year benchmark. So it indicates that he is right on track for where he needs to be to exit kindergarten and move on to first grade. Overall, I really enjoyed getting to learn about the different screeners. As a parent, I've used the ASQ before with my own kids, so it was different to be on the other end of it. But it was really cool to actually use some of the tools that I've used as a parent and see how they're used by professionals to make determinations about special education or intervention, or even get those balls rolling, as in the case of my student that did the ASQ, that now she's being evaluated for speech. So it's really cool to see how they work together to do what's best for the students.